Hi guys, it's Jax with you today. Just making a video to show my most recent knife, which is this red one. And here we have a little knife block filled with my most recent knives that I made. Now I'm about to put these knives into service, so I wanted to make a video to show. I've showed all the other ones except for this red one, but I like to make a video to show the knife and capture it before it goes into service and gets all patinas form on the blades and stuff like that. So while it's all shiny and new, for the record, I mean, I could always polish them up later and bring them back to new. But anyway, so here I am now, and like I said, these guys are about to go into service in the kitchen. So anyways, what you're looking at here is my most recent knife. I just finished it the other day. It's a really beautiful little knife. So you know what, I'm just going to put that back here for a second and talk about it for a second. So anyways, here's all the materials that I used to make the knife. Here's all of it's here. Once again, I used 15N20, a carbon nickel steel. Really tough, good steel. Make a fine knife, makes a fine knife blade or whatever. So good tough steel that can get really hard, holds a decent edge. It has a 0.75% carbon and 2% nickel. Anyways, it's a nice European steel, something like L6 but without the chromium and whatever else, other elements that make the two differ. Good stuff. Anyways, nice and tough. Gets really hard. Takes a good edge. Decent edge holding. Makes a good blade steel. So that's what the blade's made out of. A hunk of that stuff. And then for the handles, I used red G10. Now, here's just the remainder that I have left from the slab that I bought. It's 1/8 of an inch thick, red and white G10. So that's what I used for the as you can see, for the handles. So some nice red G10. We all know, well anyways, if you don't know, G10 is a man-made, just in case you're not a knife maker. Knife makers will know what this stuff is, but in case you're one of my subscribers for another reason other than knives, this is it's a good man-made material. It's really stable. I don't think it's going to swell or, it won't swell or change its dimension. It won't absorb water. It won't mildew or, mold on you. It won't be too hot or too cold like a hunk of aluminum would or something else like that if you're using the knife outside. It's tough and it's strong. And it's attractive. Plus, you can put all sorts of different textures in it, and the grain, if you want to call it that, you can grind it at angles to show the layers that are in this stuff. It's made from layering. I don't know if it's fiberglass soaked in epoxy resin and then compressed and stuff like that. Anyways, it's good stuff. So that's what the handles are made out of. Now, it's a partial tang. As you can see where the silver meets the right here. The silver, the tang ends, and it meets up with the spacer material. So it's a partial tang, pretty robust and pretty long. So the partial tang goes to behind the second pin here. So there's that much of a tang where my thumb is. So pretty stout construction. It's really built well. It's super strong, super tough. Anyways, now the reason I did that is because I want to, partial tangs are good enough for light duty knives, and you might be surprised what you could put this style of knife through before. It's plenty strong. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, so the rest of the gap. As you can imagine, when you squeeze this together, there's going to be a gap, and I filled it in with spacer material, red and white. which turned out to be the exact thickness of the blade. Anyways, I also forgot to mention that this G10 is only 1/8 of an inch thick, so 2 slabs of this for the handle would be a little bit on the thin side. So what I did is I took a piece of aluminum and made 2 liners to add to the handle to thicken it out a bit. Now this aluminum is about 1/16 of an inch thick, so you know, add 2 of them together and you increase the width of the handle so it's a little more comfortable. So I took some aluminum, really tenacious stuff, polishes up nicely, cut and made the liners. And that, as you can see, of course you can see the red G10 and then the aluminum for the liners. Increase the thickness quite a bit. And then the spacer material. So anyways, now these pins here, I did a different technique than I usually do for pinning my pins in. Long story short, I drilled holes for everything to fit together, and then I drilled a larger countersinking hole on each of these bolts, so that the tenacious soft aluminum pins into that extra little area, and then I could grind it flush, which is a lot like my fixed blades that I was making with nuts and bolts. I don't know if I'm making sense to anybody, but for instance, this knife's done differently. This I just drilled the holes, didn't do any countersinking hole. I fit the pins in, cut them, and chamfered the tops of the pins and then pined them down. So it's really flush. They stick out a little bit, but more like a dome, so your fingers don't catch any sharp edges. It's nice and flush that way, but it still rises above a little bit, and that's like a normal type of pining or whatever. So this one's a little bit different, and it turned out really nice. So perfectly flush, and then the remainder that's holding it together is inside the handle. Turned out really, really pretty. So once again, here's my my pin material. Pretty thick piece of aluminum rod. Really tenacious stuff. Plenty strong enough to form a nice strong mechanical bond. I mean, you may be looking at this thinking, well, it looks pretty soft, but it takes a lot of power to push it like that. Plus, it's so tenacious that once you pin it in there, it's, you know, it's more than capable of holding a knife handle together. So anyways, it polishes up nicely, it cuts nicely, machines nicely, stuff like that. So anyways, that's the material I used to make this guy. Now, so it's a nice knife. Its intent is to be a food knife. You could use it for a paring knife or a pretty much an anything knife. Cutting your steak, peeling fruit, whatever. It's also strong enough that you can cut rope, cardboard, you know, lots of outdoor chores and stuff like that. But the whole purpose of it was to be a nice little food knife. G10 took a nice, beautiful polish. Same with the aluminum. Might be getting a little bit... So it's a really nice knife. For the steel, I put it in the... I heat treated it. I stuck it in the old fires. Coated the blade. Stuck it in a fire. Heated it up and soaked it for a bit at a lower temperature. And then ramped up the temperature to quenching temperature. Checked it with the old magnet and put it in my oil and quenched it in oil that I had preheated. And then of course I took it and tempered it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for a couple hours. I went on the low side for the temper just in case my kitchen stove went a little on the high side, because I couldn't find a oven thermometer, so I couldn't keep an eye on it that way. So I just wrapped this in aluminum, wrapped the blade in aluminum to make sure that the oven didn't overheat the temper. So it's a carbon steel. It's going to be forming a patina the second I start using it for cutting stuff. And then I put everything together, fitted it all together, grinded it all down, polished it up, etched my maker's mark in there. Here's my maker's mark, a B, JB. Gave it a mirror finish the best I could. Spent 2 hours, believe it or not, putting the cutting edge on this thing with diamond stones and a belt sander. The metal, I must have got the grain size really nice. Anyways, it was a really tough and hard thing to put that cutting edge on there, believe it or not. I just worked it for like 2 hours on the bloody diamond hone. And so she's nice and razor sharp. Anyways, this video is going to get too long, so it's really a beautiful knife. It's my latest piece. I'm really pleased with it. Everything's really refined and smooth. The bevels are nice and even. The maker's mark turned out nice. The etch is nice and deep. It's hard to capture just how attractive this thing is with my stupid little camera that I'm using, but it's a beautiful knife. Blisteringly sharp, super comfortable, just well made and really pretty. Anyways, guys, before I babble on too much, that's my latest knife, and it's kind of nice to record it for, you know, so that I can look back and stuff like that, and hopefully someone enjoys it and maybe, you know, wants to make their own style of knife. So these are just the latest knives that I made. Here's the other one. I already showed this one in the video with the exotic wood and the antler and the brass and the leather disc and stuff like that. So anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Going to really enjoy putting these through the paces and cutting some stuff with them. So from the garage here in Canada, it's Jack saying thank you for watching and take care and have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.